Hello, welcome back to the Art Beef Podcast. I'm your host, an artistic, otherwise known as Mattius Johansen. I am happy to be here, talking with you, even if you aren't right here in front of me. As you can see, this is an uncomfortable setting for me. I am used to being behind the camera, but we're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk more about me as an artist, the position I'm in, what got me to this point of want to start this podcast. But first, I want to talk to you more about the podcast. I feel like, it's kind of been open-ended what the podcast is actually about. And that's on me. But I did want to do some test runs. I wanted to see if I can actually do it and get out of my comfort zone and just kind of jump 2 feet in. And now after being in the pool a little bit, I feel like, maybe I need to learn how to swim. And this is the first step. So, anywho, as I said, in the first 2 episodes, you kind of got a taste of what Art Beef has to bring. Artists talking about their lives. And the importance of that here for me is that the artwork lives forever, essentially, in theory. And the artist doesn't. And it's quite simply put, the artist has an expiration date. And I feel like we should have a moment to hear artists out and celebrate them and be frustrated with them and kind of go on their wild ride with them. So this is my effort in creating that experience. And hopefully the first couple of episodes attested to what I'm talking about right now. But if not, hopefully what I have to follow will start making a lot more sense. So, the Art Beef Podcast, it's about 3 things. First, it's about talking and thinking about art. Mostly visual art, but all arts apply. I mean, that's performance, so dancing, there's musical artists, whether you're a solo artist or you're a band. It goes for commercial artists. It goes for social media artists. It goes, regrettably, to AI artists. But it's all about art. It's all about the creation. It's all about the passion and the drive to bring something into this world that only you can bring. Secondly, the podcast is about cultivating community. Each individual is their own person, and not every person jives and vibes the same way. The same can be expected of artists, but I do believe in there being that hub, that circle, or even concentric circles in which your community exists, and especially so for artists, because we need our support. And the only way we feel verified in pushing forward, besides a overdriven ego, is the support we get from our community, from our circle, from our concentric circles. So this is about expanding those circles and those concentric circles. Thirdly, the podcast is about addressing those challenges that come with talking and thinking about art and cultivating community. Those things can be difficult things in themselves. They seem very simple, but they often require a lot of effort and a lot of focus and a lot of solitude that can sometimes feel like loneliness. We'll get more into philosophy later. But either way, my guests and I discuss all the nuances and complexities within these seemingly simple ideas to connect and build relation to the same audiences we aspire to reach with our creative practices. Join us for laughs, for some serious moments, some sticky situations, and for the love of art. I mean, come on. Art is everywhere. And you can't live life, especially in this modern society, without encountering it in some type of way. So, I'm going to say so a lot, just prefacing. So, what is the beef? The beef can be both positive and negative. On the one hand, it is the most mass of your life. It's the meat of your career and your life as an artist. It's the accomplishments, it's the nuances, it's the ambitions, it's the nitty-gritty labor that you put into being an artist. And then on the other hand, it's the grievances, the disappointments, the challenges, as I said before, that you face, or artists face, I face, in the pursuit. It's AKA the beef. And I can have beef with myself. I could have beef with institutions. I could have beef with the art world. I could have beef with imaginary beings. But it's a part of what makes me whole. It's a part of what makes any person whole. It's your experience. So, what we hope to accomplish, another 3 things. We hope to accomplish growth. Growth is number 1 in being an artist, in my opinion. The things you have to grow from to get to this point, as well as the growth that you're going to have to hope to gain going forward. This podcast is a symbol of my own growth to this point, and also where I'd like to go, going forward. For me, I have had many different phases of what I consider creation and what I consider a capable creation. Talking and being in front of a camera was always, to me, a pipe dream. It didn't seem like reality. It didn't seem like something that I could just do. So this in itself, what I'm doing right now, is growth for me. The second thing, support for artists. It comes in many different forms, but the best support doesn't come from a specific group. Pause. I'm going to do this because I'm going to be real with y'all. Gotta learn to keep my notifications off while I'm recording. Just word to the wise, I guess. Anyway, back to that second thing. Support for artists. It comes in many different forms, but the best support doesn't come from a specific group of people. It can come from all over and completely unexpected places. Even just truly understanding the subtleties and nuances that an artist has to engage in the process of creating and showing their work can be the kind of support that inspires the artist to go further. Money in our capitalist society will always be necessary for an artist to survive, for any person to survive. That's just the way the world is now. But it's always going to be necessary for survival. And that financial support does go a long way. It does go a long way. However, the opportunity to show your work and engage with audiences that make honest efforts to understand the conversation you're trying to have that's invaluable, in my opinion, in my experience. All right. So the third thing, culture. We live in a society that favors immediacy, convenience, and comfort. This is fine for artists in the commercial realm and in the social media realm. It's not about some grand question or narrative that needs to be addressed. Commercial art very often is utilitarian or presented as product. Most fine art is never immediate, it's never convenient, and oftentimes it's meant to disrupt comfortability. Sometimes physically, and oftentimes mentally and emotionally, psychologically as well. This podcast looks to impact the culture of creators, artists, art lovers, people who like art but don't understand it, unexpected audiences, museums, galleries, and collectors. To see the hidden labor, learn the process of creation and navigation within the art world, and most importantly, ask the right question. We don't want to continue some boring rhetoric of critique and historical analysis. We want to engagement. We want to engage the conversation of art from a place of understanding and openness. Openness to creative processes in all its manifestations. Sounds simple, but it sounds beautiful even, but it's a difficult task. I mean, think about how easy it is for the culture to sway, and think about how hard it is to actually impact it. But I'm a believer in incremental changes, in step-by-step growth. As long as I've got support, I will always feel like we can have a hand in the culture. See how that just comes together. Anyway, how do I suppose we are going to get there in this podcast, with this podcast? Slowly, but definitely surely. No doubt, anyone who knows me knows that I'm always on the move, always working on something new, something old, and that sometimes I can fall off the map. This podcast is my attempt to stay on the map, to keep you guys engaged, keep you invested in the work, in the conversations that I'm trying to do. Keep my community informed about my journey. And also engage my contemporaries in ways that I may not otherwise. Back to that cultivating community part. Where I'm at, it's not always that easy to go and engage with my community, my circle, my concentric circles, like I was talking about, you know? But right now, I'ma try. I promise y'all. And I'm making this promise to myself because I'm in the room by myself. But I promise y'all, the people who are actually tapped in right now, that even though episodes might be sporadic or inconsistent, they're going to go forward. They're going to come. They're going to be released. I'm going to keep you updated. I got a Twitter. I'm going to get into all that. I keep getting ahead of myself. But I will only grow if y'all grow with me. If y'all learn. If y'all engage me and help me learn. Because that sounds kind of pompous. Like being like, oh, y'all need to learn. No, I need to learn as well. But the only way I learn is if we do this thing. We do this conversation thing. We have this game. Again, the growth. I have to grow. The world needs to grow. There's only one thing I ask. is that you're open. I put emphasis on that earlier. If you're open to the conversations that I'm going to have for myself, that I have with others, we want you to take that openness out into the world with you, and that you share it. Share that openness, because being an artist, creating work, that's vulnerable. That's vulnerability, and that's something we're gonna learn together as we continue talking about artists and talking about art. So the only way to, really respond to that is to be vulnerable yourself, is to open yourself up to that experience and carry that philosophy into your life a little bit. I try to. It's not perfect. Again, easier said than done. But the effort is where we're at here. Let's see. Now we get to talk about me. Now we get to talk about me. Kind of scary. The reason is, like I was saying earlier, vulnerability. Easier said than done. Even with yourself, like I am right now. Placing emphasis on it because it's kind of funny and I can't get over it. But eventually, we'll see. Maybe in like 10 episodes, 20 episodes, I won't even mention it anymore. But we're going to try to barrel forward. Anywho, if you don't know me, if you do know me, hey, you made it to the second half. You're not bored. Hey, I'm quite excited about that. If you don't know me, I'm an artist. I'm a budding philosopher. I'm a creator at this point. Artist is a great word. I love that word, but that can get misconstrued in a lot of ways. But a creator is a close second, in my opinion, to the word artist. Later date, we'll talk about those definitions. But on top of all that, I like to consider myself a chill dude. I like to play games. I like to skate. I do jujitsu. I do tattoos. That's a part of being an artist for me, but it's an extra little hobby. I'm also a cat dad. Love Bubs. You guys are gonna see her eventually. Right now she's being chill. Sleep. It's kind of late. Anything else you want to know about just what I do? Check out my socials. It's not everything, but hardly does anyone have everything on their social media. So if you want to know what I do professionally, check out my work. It's on Instagram @_unartistic. You know where to find me at this point. Why did I want to do a podcast? I don't know. It felt like the easiest way to just break out of my shell and talk about art, and also get a little bit of feedback on my opinion. I talk about art a lot with myself, with my peers, with my students, colleagues, and it seems like it's well, and it seems like I've got great opinions, and sometimes people tell me I had a great point, but there's no opinion like the world of opinion, and that's all I'm here to share. But the first thing. I've said it, I mentioned it a couple times. Getting from behind the camera. It's difficult. It's not a realm I'm comfortable with. I've restated this over and over. And behind the artwork as well. From behind the artwork. Because with the artwork, I can write a powerful statement. I've gotten pretty good at addressing a crowd, pretty generally about my work. Fielding questions. I can eat a question down. Give me a good question. I'm here to, provide that answer because it's fun for me. And the podcast is now a conduit in which I get to do that all the time. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Second thing, I want to do a podcast because I want to talk about art. That kind of goes into the first thing, but I want to share my perspective. I feel like I see a lot of content, I see a lot of media out there of people talking about art, critiquing art, a lot of people shitting on contemporary art, which, fair. I've got my opinions. We'll get into that too. But, I feel like I can throw my hat in the ring. And eventually, I want to be able to write and actually critique work for up-and-coming artists. The big wigs, the people who are in museums, they got representation. They don't need me. I can voice my opinion, but they don't need me to write them a critique. They don't need me to get what they're doing. They're in the museum. The people who got the money to keep them going have already bought in. But getting from that space of where no one's bought in, I'm still there in ways. A lot of ways. I'm still there in a lot of ways. Getting from that space is difficult. I want to be able to help. This podcast is a way. Eventually critiquing is a way. Eventually curating shows is a way. But this goes into that envisioning futures part that I was talking about earlier. The last thing, I gotta join the social media realm, and I gotta officially join the art world. Like, I've been traveling somewhere to like museums, small museums, very small museums and galleries, and being a guest lecturer and whatnot. But I don't feel like I've fully emerged. I don't feel like I've fully stepped out. And I've had my master's for 4 years at this point. So for me, it's a little bit about time to progress and grow and also see a little bit more for myself. So those are kind of some of the general reasons why I wanted to start a podcast. Now, that came with a lot of challenges. The biggest one for me sometimes is, a lot of time, is procrastination. Can't even say the word. Just being lazy. Procrastination. Like, it is the bane of my existence. I honestly am glad though. I'm able to accomplish a lot without actually giving it all the time. And I'm using it very broadly. Using all the time allotted for that thing. Sometimes a tighter deadline is what I need to produce the best work. Sometimes not. But sometimes. Anyway. The journey since the last episode. I'm sure you're wondering, Why haven't I been releasing more episodes? The first two were out on YouTube for I don't know how many months now. Tell y'all the truth. Recorded them episodes beginning this year, and it took me a long time to edit them, put them out, streamline the process, get the right equipment. It's been a bit of a journey. On top of that, studio beef, the infamous studio beef. We're gonna get another one eventually, but a little bit of story time. I had my studio at the St. Joseph Farmstead in North Little Rock, Arkansas. It was great. You know, it wasn't a new building, but the rent was great. There was fresh produce and stuff in the market downstairs. Like I had space outside of my home, out away from distractions in my bed to go and work. Not that I fully took advantage of it. That's another failure of procrastination. But anywho, great building as far as an artist who needs space is concerned. But old. The farmstead used to be an orphanage. It used to be like some other things. And then they decided to rent out the rooms to artists and, you know, have people trained to learn how to farm and grow vegetables and take care of animals and all kinds of stuff like that. There's also like an Airbnb in the building, which was different for me. But either way, it's a great space. Again, affordable for those who are struggling with money, like me and most artists. But one day, fire in the attic burned not everything down. Almost actually, not everything down. It didn't burn a whole lot of the artist studios. It burned down the chapel, and it burnt a lot of the attic. And by the time the fire department got there, the flames looked like they got, you know, more towards the front of the building, but didn't really have to. Didn't really reach all that way, I mean. And they shot the water through the windows. My studio was on that side, in the center of the building, on the 4th floor, closest to the attic. So, guess where the water went? Straight through my window, hit a lot of my arm. The initial photos that we got after the event, it was not that bad. Like, I could have salvaged most of that stuff. I use a lot of found materials anyway, so I would have found a way to pivot. But couldn't go in the building because recently had a fire, old building, insurance, all the good stuff. So they're unsure about the attic, whether it's going to fall through. So they got to shore up the building. Whoever the construction guys are who went in to shore up the building, they did not be careful with any of our things. And so they got thrown in corners. They had water falling on them. They sealed off the windows. So Arkansas's hot. There's water. A lot of standing water. There's fabric, canvas, metal, wood, all kinds of things in my studio, other people's studios. So what do you think grows when you get wet, moist, dark environments? Mold. So most of the stuff was molded. And long story short, didn't get my stuff back, or didn't even get to see my stuff until a couple months later. And I threw away a good 80% of what I had, just because it was just unusable, if I even got it back. And the stuff I did got, I did a little mold remediation. And luckily, I got my ties. I had over 200 ties. And if you see my work, I use neckties in my work sometimes. And I'll talk more about that in future episodes. But I thought they were gone, man. But luckily, they were in the bin. They stayed intact. They were covered in mold. So I washed them like 4 times with vinegar and all the good stuff to keep the mold away. And now they're ready to use again. So that is silver lining in a dark shit cloud. That was that experience of losing all my stuff. And shout out to the people that were there for me, the support, the aid. It was exactly what I needed in a time of crisis, and I think it helped me not crash out. Because if I had nothing, if I had no support, if I had no people around me who cared about what I am doing, I probably would have crashed out. But no need, unnecessary. Anywho, also since then, I was blessed. That was a bad moment. But when there are downs, there's usually gonna be an up. In that scenario, that was the Catalyst grant. Shout out to the Mid-America Arts Alliance. They really did their big one. The Catalyst grant is a practice-based grant. If you want to know more about that grant, please go and look it up. Just look up Mid-America Arts Alliance Catalyst grant. I was blessed with a significant amount of money, duty free, just to get my practice where I wanted to go, or a step further where I wanted to go. And with that, we have better equipment. We've got new things on the way, new episodes on the way. We got new logos. Y'all gonna see some new logos soon. We're gonna use the original Art Beef logo too, because I made that and I love it. But I have my boy Jordan Crawford. Check him out on Instagram at ArtByJC. He hooked me up as far as the logos and graphic designs, media package, whole thing. Like, he got me set straight. Period. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And honestly, this ain't even his first time getting me straight. I just didn't even get to use the first logos he designed for me years back. So this time, we gonna put them to work, because they are good. And then on top of that, we're gonna have new merch coming in. New merch that y'all gonna be able to use in your daily lives. You're gonna wear your shirt, it's gonna say Art Beef. It's gonna be Art Beef. You got a little mug and sip your coffee and it's gonna say Art Beef. Little hat. Pause. Sorry, y'all. Gotta put this little charger back into the computer, cause Lord have mercy, we finna die out here. Anywho, now that's settled. New merch. You're gonna be able to rock it. It's gonna be accessible. God willing, it's gonna be affordable, and you're gonna be able to support me, this podcast, other artists, in the most affordable way you can in this economy. Because Lord knows we all need to hold on to our ducats, and buying art for the price it's worth, you got to be in the position to do that. And as an artist, I understand that. I've not sold a lot of my studio work. I've done commissions, I've done little small commercial work, but I've not sold a lot of the work that I made to have the conversation, to be in a museum. So I'm not necessarily worried about everybody owning a piece of my artwork for my studio. It would be great, but there are other ways to support. If you're not gonna buy merch, you ain't even gotta buy merch. That's the thing. That's just a little extra added bonus if you really want to support, but like on a financial level. But if you want to support this podcast, share it. That's how we grow. Share it. You can comment. That's great. I'm gonna try to respond to comments because I want to connect. I want to push myself to connect more because it's out there, but this is a way I'm opening the door to those who want to be, inside. But share it. If you share the work, we inevitably grow. That's just how I see it. Also, like it, so it comes up again. I want to show up on your timeline. I want to be a face you frequent, a voice you hear, seldomly. Sorry, that's the wrong word. Frequently is the best word. Not seldomly. Not seldomly. I want to show up just out of nowhere, like, oh yeah, new episode of Art Beef, like, he's back. That's crazy. I want y'all to have that experience. Anywho, and there's more interviews to come. There's more episodes to come. There's a whole half a month left of this July, a month and a half of summer left. Plenty of shenanigans to get into. Plenty of moments where I can just pop in and converse. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to hearing back from y'all. Let me know something. Hop in the comments. Shoot us an email. We're gonna unartistic with a K. I think I should have said that when I told y'all my Instagram. It's at _unartistic with a K. That's just that. You'll find me on Instagram and on for the emails. If you want to email me something, topics, artwork for me to talk about, anything related to the arts, to the creative process, to the creative life that you want me to address, shoot me an email. If you don't hop in the DMs, you don't hop in the comments, shoot me an email. Unartistic is my personal Instagram. Make sure I also join up on the Art Beef podcast on Instagram. It's Art Beef Pod. No cast, just Art Beef Pod. And you'll find us. You'll see the original logo for now. And yeah, follow, share when we post stuff. Like, that'll be the biggest help that you could give us. Again, it's a weird experience for me. I'm sorry if this episode is kind of sporadic. It's kind of all over the place. But I was really trying to fit my thoughts in under an hour. Because I got things to do as well. And I know you do. So I'm going to let you get back to that. And I appreciate you for stopping by.